Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Quad B coming at you from downtown Washington, D.C., with an impromptu live stream hangout. The time is 11:06 a.m. on Wednesday, May 30th, 2008. If you are joining, thanks for joining. I wanted to talk about something I saw yesterday, and this is another local story, and I promised I'd try to keep up with local issues because as Black people, that's where our biggest impact is going to be as opposed to the federal level. And of course we can do things at the state level as well. But I saw some stuff that really kind of annoyed me. Um, and that would be there's the school board in Fairfax County, Virginia, which is just outside of Washington, and is the district that I send my youngest son to. And let me say this, he's getting ready to graduate high school this month, and not a moment too soon, because this school board is looking like they're going to be on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, they want to make changes to this thing called the family life curriculum, which will render biological gender meaningless. That's right. Biological gender will no longer be used. And let me show you an article. Let me go in. I'm screen sharing right now. Let me show you an article that was done by this website called Blue Virginia Progressive, right? And let me read to you um, first paragraph. So pathetic. See the video below. I'm not going to show the video, but for the Fairfax County Public School Board's two Republican members, the far right Elizabeth Schultz and the not quite as far right but still god awful Thomas Wilson, comments last night on and this was early May, on the Fairfax County Public Schools Family Life Education Program and on the Family Life Education Curriculum Advisory Committee. Basically, right wingers like Schultz and Wilson are having difficulty with the concept that gender is not a strict binary, that sexuality and gender identity are not 1950s father knows best style black and white simplistic things. Wilson, for instance, riffs about his mother asking him, after raising 7 kids, could she still be a man? Or Wilson wants to know, if we believe that also, could I be a mother at this point at 52? Something you want to share with us, Tom? Now, let me say this. I always thought that the right was was already loony, you know? But it seems like the left is getting just as no, actually they are just as loony. Excuse me, but I'm having difficulty with the concept, and most people have difficulty with the concept that gender is not a strict binary. Excuse me. When you're born, you're either male or female. I don't see what the puzzle is. But this is the result of the LGBTQ community, their political heft moving into every area possible, including the schools. And I'm going to scroll down to another paragraph here. It says here the idea they want to use, instead of biological sex, they want to use sex assigned at birth. The idea behind sex assigned at birth is that it is the language currently used by all major American medical and allied health professional organizations and in most recent court decisions in describing that aspect of human sexuality. Unfortunately, biological sex has become a dog whistle used by the Trump administration as a stand in for real sex in order to erase transgender people. Also, not preferred for the same reason are anatomical sex, physiological sex, and natal sex. Okay, let me see who might be in the chat right now. Okay, Dollar Will, extension of the bullshit sexuality is learned argument. Welcome, man. How you doing? So let me go to this is the actual Family Life Education Community Review of New Materials. Recommended Family Life Education instructional materials available for community review. Now, the Board of Education of Fairfax County is supposed to vote on these proposals on June 14th, which is, like I said, 3 days after my son graduates, and not a moment too soon. So let's read. Let's read. Let's go down to grade 8 recommendations. Let me pull this in a little closer for you guys to see. And I've done a search on the word gender. Change lesson objectives in grades 8, 9, and 10 to strike biological sex slash gender and replace with sex assigned at birth. Okay? This is what they want to do. And then there's something else that's pretty interesting. If you scroll down, okay, students will recognize development of sexuality as a lifelong aspect of personality. The original descriptive statement was that instruction will include that individuals are sexual beings from birth to death and that sexuality evolves from infancy to old age. Sexual orientation terms heterosexual, homosexual, and bisexual, and the gender identity term transgender will be defined. Students with questions or concerns about their sexual orientation or gender identity will be advised to talk with a parent, member of clergy, or counselor. Emphasis will be placed on tolerance and non-discrimination of all people. Now look at the new descriptive statement. Same text, except for one little thing, two little things. Missing are member of the clergy or counselor. Do you think that they scratch clergy because, there might be some students who still have a, biblical view of, sex and marriage and all that good stuff? I don't know. But I am annoyed because when my family joined me here in the DMV, I had been here 3 years. I had rented from a retired teacher who taught in Fairfax County. And hold on, there's a phone ringing. When we had my family moved down with me to join me from New Jersey in 2011, and this teacher recommended that we put our youngest son in Fairfax County because we could have moved to Maryland, we could have moved to the district, we could have put our son we could have put our son in school in Maryland, we could have put our son in school in Washington D.C., or we could do Virginia. So we decided to do Fairfax County, Virginia, because their schools are so supposedly real good, and they are. But here's the thing: it cost it cost me and my son's mother, my wife, an arm and a leg to live in Fairfax County, Virginia, because they've got all the government contracting companies there. You've got people who own these companies. You've got all kinds of shit being built in Tyson's Corner in terms of apartments, condos, whatever. And I ask myself, who the hell's going to live in all this? But all it does is just drive the cost of living up. And we kind of struggle. And I've talked about this in the past. But hey, Cats, what's going on? What's going on? How are you doing? Thanks for modding. But I'm just to the point where, wait a minute, what's going on here? So if men aren't men and women aren't women, what's next? What's next? Is 2 plus 2 going to equal 5 next? Is 5 times 5 going to equal 1 million? I mean, we talk about getting our black kids into science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, but yet we've got the left attacking, biology. Biology, gender is a biological construct, people. It is not a social construct. It is not a cultural construct. If you feel the need, now if you're born a man and you feel the need to have your dick chopped off and inverted into your groin, into a vagina, wonderful. But you're still a damn man. Same with a woman. If you're a woman and you have your pussy pulled out and turned into what? Oh God, I'd hate to see what that looks like. What would result there? That wouldn't be a penis. Oh God, that would be an awful looking penis. But then that's wonderful for you. But you're still a woman. Okay? I don't care. Gender identity is fluid for some people. That may be. But biologically, you're still a man. You are what you were born. But yeah, they're making the exception the rule, you say. And I, I okay, fine, that's great. But then you're trying to, drop this into a large school district. You're trying to force your definition of gender into, no, not you, but all these folks are trying to force their definition of gender onto a school district, and that's going to create even more confusion. And I can see a bunch of parents coming out against this, even those on the left. Because I saw this I first learned about it by an email the same teacher sent me that said, Democrats, it talked about Democrats who have a golden opportunity to flip things, but but they seem to always shoot themselves in the foot. And this is just one more instance of shooting themselves in the foot, rather. Oh man. And and this makes me think about, groups like Black Lives Matter and how fucking duplicitous and ingenuous they are. They started out, it's like three lesbian women started this, and they use as their political currency the extrajudicial killings of black men, but in reality it's an LGBTQ front for moving that agenda along. And the only good that black men are, the only useful black men to this group are dead black men, preferably dead black men who were killed, who met their hands at at the business end of a police weapon. I mean, and this is really disappointing. This is disappointing that they're even considering it. I told my wife about it yesterday, and she said, "Well, can't people opt out?" I'm not sure. I'm not sure if people can opt out. Parents can opt their kids out. but I will link. Of course, as I always do, I will link into link the articles I cite in the description below the video. Yeah, here's another one: teaching biological sex is meaningless, from the Freedom Project. Policymakers with the far left school board in Fairfax County, Virginia, voted overwhelmingly, okay, to teach children that biological sex is meaningless. I don't know why they say that, because the vote is allegedly in June. So anyway, um, I just wanted to do this quick live stream. Just wanted to do this quick live stream because I'm in an office, and I can't out. If I bring people on, we'll be on here for 5, 6 hours. but but yeah. Oh, here's one. Okay, here's a paragraph here um, that I wanted to read to you. When children end up numb, hurting, and confused from all the immoral sex and gender propaganda pushed on them at government schools, the school has have a list of trusted adults that the students can consult for help. Under the new scheme, clergy will no longer be included, presumably because some might hold to biblical notions of morality and sexuality. Okay, so if you hold to that, that's fine. And again, I have nothing against gay people. I have nothing against transgender people. I have nothing against them. But please don't start trying to fuck with biology. You're fucking with science. We already got enough people, fucking politicians on the right, fucking with scientists, um, for political gain. Those scientists who believe that human activity does contribute to climate change, and I believe that. The idea, the question is, to what extent? Is this like do to what extent? I mean, is this sort of a natural cyclical thing, or do we, in terms of global warming, or do humans help contribute to it? Not global warming or climate change, whatever you want to call it. I do believe that, but that it really pisses me off to see, you know, science being fucked with by the right. Now you've got science being fucked with by the left. You know, and as far as as I've been on quite a few hangouts here on YouTube, and it said you can either do one or two. As black folk, we need to do one or two things. We need to either run for school board and take over these school boards, or take our kids completely out of the schools and homeschool them. Because this is getting ridiculous. I mean, remember remember in the movie Boys in the Hood, when Trey and Ricky, they took their SATs and they went to Furious Styles' real estate office, and Furious told them, yeah, those tests are culturally biased. The only thing universal is the math. I'm starting to wonder now if that's still the case. Like I said, what's next? Is 2 plus 2 going to equal 5? I've actually put that thought actually hit me after Trump was elected. I thought, okay, folks, they voted this man in. Facts don't matter. Okay, I made peace with that, because there's someone who tried to traffic in facts for most of his adult life as a paid journalist, reporter. It was frustrating to have people tell me, even though I'm writing this shit, that that I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So most of the time people were agreeable, but you had a few who always wanted to second guess you. But so I thought about facts, and I thought, okay, at some point, when you have one faction, you're going to have a faction in the world that believes 2 plus 2 equals 5. Then you're going to have another faction that's going to believe 2 plus 2 equals 3. And then those of us in the middle who know that 2 plus 2 equals 4 are going to catch shit from both of these other, from the 3 and the 5 faction. And I figure at that point, it'll be a wrap for the human race. Oh, man. I'm going to come back to that. Cat says, have facts ever mattered? You got that right. You got that. Sometimes. Lately, no. But I couldn't believe after Trump was elected, the day after Trump was elected, I was I had this feeling of peace wash over me. Okay, we now know that for a big chunk of the country, facts don't matter. This man has shown every negative behavior, emotion, whatever have you, and they still elected him. Okay, okay, he's yours. You can have him. But anyway, I just let me do this stop sharing thing. I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna go back to my logo. But I thank Cats and Dollar Will for showing up. I appreciate your modding, Cats. Really do. Um, but yeah, facts mess up a good argument. Or what do they say? Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. Look, I could have won a Pulitzer if I had made up a few things. If I had stretched the truth or whatever, I could have done that. Like Janet Cook. For those of you who don't know who she is, she was assistant at work for the Washington Post that wrote a story about an 8-year-old heroin addict in 1981. It turns out she made the whole thing up, but her editors were just as complicit because they put pressure on her to come up with such a story. So she made the shit up, and they ended up winning the Pulitzer. And then everyone dug into her background. They found out she lied about her background, which really took me out because I thought, wow, I took it on faith that if I lied on my resume, somebody would find out. But apparently, in this case, no. But anyway, she's out. This lady, Janet Cook, she's been out of journalism for 30 years. Dollar Will. Yeah, it was called Jimmy's Story. That's what it was called, Jimmy's Story. Yeah, go back and look at that shit. That was crazy. But like I said, a lot of it had to do too with her editors. The Washington Post was a place, by the way, that I called myself wanting to work at. And I applied, and they told me my work didn't have the depth and the breadth that they wanted. I'm like, okay, what the fuck ever. Look, I did great. I think I did great work for that paper in Denver, Colorado. One day I'll show you guys that. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here real quick. It's been what, 30, almost 25 minutes? Yeah, she should be a screenwriter, really. I've had people tell me I should write, fiction and all that. I just can't do fiction. I got to do nonfiction. Oh, and by the way, that teacher that I referenced, you guys, that the one who recommended the Fairfax schools, I co-wrote a book with her on um, her life with sickle cell disease. I mentioned that to Ming early on after we met. Well, I mentioned that to her last fall. Um, so I actually, if you want a link to that, just send me a link or shoot me a message or something like that, and I'll send you a link. It's a really good read. I had a guy, and I'm going off the topic here, but I had my mother-in-law's companion, who at the time was 93 years old, picked up a galley copy of the book, and he didn't put it down. And this was about this lady who was the teacher. She was a former landlady because I was actually for 3 years I traveled back and forth every other weekend between here in D.C. and New Jersey till we again, like I said, my family moved down here. Um, the Dollar Will, were you a journalist? You know what? I think you did say you worked in media somewhere, didn't you? But you don't want to say. If you don't want to say, that's fine. But I thought I heard you. I thought I said I heard you say you worked in media. Anyway, um, I'm gonna jump off of here, and I'm gonna jump off, and I just wanted to get that out. I mean, again, science is under attack now. Biology is under attack. Okay, producer, editor, at a young age from my own company. So take that, radio tech for a major media company. Got it. Okay, okay, Dollar Will. So who knows? Maybe you and I should collaborate on something. I don't know. I'm just talking off the top of my head, but maybe we should collaborate. Anyway, this is Quad B. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you'll catch this on the upload um, once YouTube uploads this thing, and you train plenty of college journalists. And there's actually a professor of journalism I want to get on a hangout. He and I work together. He worked in Hampton. Now he's at Morgan State, and he's a guy I would love to get on this thing, get on the hangout because you know journalism is still important. Telling our stories is still important, even if nothing else but to each other, because I don't think the broader community really cared. White community doesn't really care that much. But and I will also say I hope to do a live stream or a video about, I know we call this the Black manosphere, but I like to think that there was, back in the 80s and 90s, there was a Black manosphere, but we all worked for white media outlets, but we did the best we could. We infiltrated, and if you will, we did the best we could. And I'm going to make a listing of all these guys. Of course, they're all older and retired now, and either deceased, retired, or getting ready to end their careers. But there was a lot of us who were doing this work, a whole bunch of us, namely Les Payne, who used to work for, what was that? He used to work for Newsday. He passed away recently. We had a guy named Jay Harris who was an editor at Gannett. We have Dwayne Wickham, who was a columnist for Gannett. The Ivory brothers, Benny and Lee. Benny was an editor down in Mississippi. Matter of fact, years ago, I saw him at a cookout, and he damn near offered me a job on the spot. I'm like, yo, man, I can't. I'm getting ready to move. I'm getting ready to get married and move somewhere else. I can't go to Mississippi. Yeah, definitely. We'll talk off air. Dollar will. We'll talk off air. But yeah, we there. I can. Who else am I thinking of? Guy named Will Sutton. He was a reporter with the Philadelphia Inquirer. Asa Moore, who's deceased, he worked for the Inquirer. He was a top editor with the Inquirer. Chuck Stone, a columnist with the Philadelphia Daily News. And a lot of these older guys got their start with the Black press. Who else? Claude Lewis, who recently passed away. He was with the old Philadelphia Bulletin. Now we're really going back. So if you want to know something about journalism and the recent history of Black journalists, the guy I'm thinking of is a dude named Wayne Dawkins, and he actually wrote a book on the history of the National Association of Black Journalists. Um, they were an advocacy organization, and they have their leanings, if you will. And I was a board member when I was young and dumb and didn't know any better. I was actually appointed to an open seat out west when I lived there. And I started a chapter of the NABJ out there too. Helped start one. A lot of those folks don't know that who are members now, but I did. That was years ago though. Anyway, let me stop. I'm just rambling now. But again, I came on to talk about this gender, this this change to the Fairfax County family life curriculum where biological sex or gender is going to be scratched, and instead the there's going to be this thing called, you know, um, what was it, gender assigned at birth. And I just feel like, again, science is on the attack from both sides. And yep, okay, Charles CG3, how you doing? Welcome. Um, but anyway, I appreciate you guys listening. I will come back and I will come back and let y'all know what happened with this vote, and it's going to be on the 14th of June. And as I promised, I'm going to try to keep up with local issues around the country, and and hopefully y'all get something out of it. And as I always say, like, share, and subscribe to the B4 channel. Hit the bell so that when I go live or upload a pre-recorded video, you will be notified. And until next time, this is Quad B saying peace, deuces, and God bless, and we'll catch y'all later.